Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Involv Chats. My name is Josh. I'm on the Involv team, and today we're going to be talking about simplified communication. I think there's a lot of busyness. There's plenty of different apps and systems that we can have as church leaders, as organizations, and so forth. But today I'm going to talk about 5 key areas that I think we could simplify. Let's get into it. So, the first key area here is simplified communication. Without simplified communication, we actually create busyness and confusion. There's not one platform that your team is communicating on. There's plenty of different apps, right, that somebody can use. And in my opinion, I think it's best to have one specific platform. And there's plenty of others. Like I said, there's WhatsApp, there's text messages, there's email, there's Slack. Obviously, Involv is one of them. You think about it, more apps means more notifications, which means more messages, which means more communication. And I don't think we need more communication. I think we need effective communication. And those are two very, very different things when it comes to being an effective communicator and creating a place where somebody is familiar. Familiarity is key when it comes to communication, as when somebody's working for a company, not necessarily serving in a church, a lot of times they use Slack, and Slack is great in its own way. But when it comes to serving in a church, you want to separate yourself in a space that somebody feels familiar, it feels right, and it's simplified. Involve really is a group messaging platform that does that. You can curate specific notifications for different groups. Each separate group can have its own plan and in hopes that whoever's communicating it within that group would actually be able to just be in that group. They don't have to be in every single group. And the big thing here is separating group messages on your iPhone or whatever Android you have to just being on one platform and app. Because as you can tell, everyone gets text messages every single day and it can become confusing. It can become disoriented as somebody who has served and worked in a church. But having one specific place where they can go to that looks familiar and aesthetically is just aligned with iMessage, they can go on, feel comfortable immediately, and be able to separate church and their personal life. The second key area here is notification control. There's very few apps and platforms, including iMessage, that you can control specific notifications. For instance, like iMessage, you can do not disturb mode, but that means there's nobody being able to contact you. With Involv, what we can do with notifications is each specific group that you can have, and you can have as many groups, as many teams as you want within that platform. We can have smart notifications giving specific notifications on specific things. So something might not be a high priority. That's okay. Maybe it doesn't need to be a notification. Maybe it just needs to be a message where they log in, they can go and see it. But there might be something that is important and the people who are your directors might need to see it. So this is where you can tell not just trying to get attention, but being an effective communicator is key. Other communication platforms, when you're scheduling for services, you get notifications almost every single time someone accepts or declines. That can become annoying and it fills up your email very, very fast. With Involv, what we can do is set it up for accept decline, obviously for a service, but you're not getting a notification for every single person because we understand that can become over. Again, you can give control to your team to be able to separate what needs to be notified and what doesn't. The third way that this is actually going to simplify your communication is task management. There's simple ways through our platform where you can assign tasks to specific people within the platform. In other platforms, you would have to do at and tag them and say, will you do this? And it gets lost. Within our platform, you can actually do task management similar to project management right from the same platform into that same group. So you can see how seamless this will be when there's 10 different groups, all with their different teams. Not everyone has to be in every single group, and there's systematized tasks that are tagged specifically to that specific person. So other people within that group will not get notified. Obviously, they can if they want, but I would assume you don't want 500 notifications that don't have anything to do with your space or area. Within task management in our platform, you will be able to actually curate a seamless project from start to finish. That's including services, that is including events, graphic design, social media, worship set lists, you name it. Anything that needs to be done, you can tag specific people that need to be done, and anyone can go in that group if they have access to be able to see what is done, what is not, and what is a high priority for us. You can actually even set the meter of this is super important to, hey, let's just try to get this done. Again, we're trying to make things as seamless as possible and as simplified because we're thinking about the unique user, which, yes, you are important. The pastor, the church leader, yes, you are important. But we're thinking about the volunteer and closing that loop of having them download 50 apps when they onboard to your team rather than just one. So task management is a huge, huge help if you use it. The fourth and second to last one is detailed event planning. I don't know about you, but if you've been in church for more than 5 minutes, you understand that we have Christmas, we have Easter, we have back to school bash, there's New Year's resolution series. There's so many different things that we have going on. And for there to be one specific place where the event planning process goes from start to finish within the same communication app that you can also set the actual event run sheet in and tag specific people who are scheduled for that event is a huge, huge win for everybody, especially event planners. Within Involv, there's an itinerary builder for where you can build an itinerary from start to finish for each event, and that is included with the tasks within the same exact group. Again, you can roster teams effectively. You can keep track of who is accepting and who is declining. There's even a feature that is integrated to Google Calendar. So whenever you're making these events, what happens is it automatically goes to people's calendar. Similar to other scheduling platforms, they don't do that. They don't integrate to other people's calendars. They just got to write it down themselves or hope. And you can see when someone's volunteering 3 times a month and it automatically goes to their calendar, what time they need to be there, what time team prayer is, when they can leave, where they need to put their team badge and notes and all of that stuff. This is how we can make it seamless and simplified for your servant leader. Again, event planning is a massive part of the church and building the church. So within it, the event space, you can do itineraries, you can do schedules, you can obviously, like this last one we said, task management. This is a huge, huge win for you if you use it. Number 5, the last one, comprehensive analytics. In the church, we have a massive front door. We're always doing marketing to get people within our church to be able to get them to serve, to lead a small group, to attend a small group, whatever your call to action is. But I don't know if we do a best job of keeping the closed door on the backside. When people leave your church, do you know? When people start to stop attending small groups for more than 3 weeks, how do we know that there's indications of health and unhealth when it comes to a person following Jesus, attending and building the church? With our comprehensive analytics of every single person being able to track their engagement of how much they accept, decline, how many messages they send within the platform. And you can see that these are already indicators of if somebody is engaged or they're not engaged. And when somebody lacks engagement within a platform of communication that we all agreed upon, a system, this gives us detailed information on where this person is at. Maybe if somebody declines 2 weeks in a row, we know that this should be a phone call. And people, obviously, like I said, with Google Calendar, they can actually be able to, you won't be able to schedule that person if their calendar is already blocked off. So you don't have to send 25 text messages to somebody begging them to accept or decline. Calendar management system will actually be able to pick that up. So that's a huge win for you. And again, analytics are everything when it comes to actually building a strong, healthy church. What gets measured will become managed. And if you want to manage and steward the people that God has brought to your church, this is a great way to be able to track engagement from start to finish. From the person serving once every 2 months to your lead pastor, you will genuinely be able to track engagements. These are 5 recommendations for you, that things that would genuinely increase not just the culture of your church, but the health of your church. And the indication of a specific person on how they're doing can actually be quantifiable and measurable, and your events and services can be tracked and stewarded well when it comes to simplifying your systems. We believe Involv is that for you. And if you want to have a conversation with us about Involve or even about one of those 5 things I just talked about, feel free to go on the link that is in our description. You will be able to book a call with Carson or myself to be able to have a conversation again about what you're doing as a church. Again, our mission is simple. It's to simplify. It's to simplify your life. It's to simplify your servant leader's life. And it will make everything more seamless and easy to be able to build God's house and be more effective. We'll see you next week.